Dear viewers, in this video we will try to draw the indifference curves by using the utility functions. So in the first example, our utility function is given as q equal to x then y square. Now here, what is the first job for us when we are planning to draw the indifference curve? First job is that we need to convert this utility function, or we need to write the utility function in such a way that we can express it in one commodity's terms. For example, here we are expressing this equation in terms of x. So then we can write it as x equal to u divided by y square. So this will be the utility function if we express it in terms of x. So in that case, we identified that how x and y are related and how we can use this information for a given level of total utility. Now here, what is this utility? Remember, this utility is basically our total utilities. So to solve this, first we need to take the help of Excel, and here we will generate few columns. The first column we will generate for commodity X, and then we will take the values of Y, and after that we will take the values of the total utility. Remember here, when we are considering the combinations for an indifference curve, the total utility values will always be same, because along the indifference curve the values of the total utilities always remain same, or total utility remains constant. Now if we need to generate the values of x at here, then we need to know the value of y square as well. So here, for the convenience, I will add one more column which I will name as square of y. So we have generated all the required columns. Now we need to connect the values with the help of the formulas. So first, here we do have y on the right hand side. So we will take the values of y first. For example, we are taking just 1, 2, 3 like that. We will continue it till 10, and then we need to fix the total utility value. Suppose we are taking here total utility as 100. So for all combinations of x and y, total utility will remain same, so it will be 100. So we have dragged and dropped the values of the total utilities for all the cells. Now we need to generate the square of y, so it will be equal to y into y. If we drag and drop it, yes, so we generated of the squares of the y for all the values of y itself. Now it's the time to generate the value of x. So what is the formula? Here the formula, in this formula we will follow the relationship that is given, that already we have identified. So it will be equal to total utility divided by the square of y. So for the first combination, we will have 100 units of x and 1 unit of y. Now if we drag quantity of the x that is given in the first row, then we will have the values of x for rest of the commodity combinations. Now in this example, we will consider only the values till 2 decimal places. So in this case, now we have generated all the values of x and y. It's the time to plot the values of x and y into the diagram. So insert, then from there go to charts. We will use xy, means two-way diagram. Okay, so xy, from there you can select these scatter with smooth lines and markers, and here is our indifference curve. So we will add one more component in this chart, that is, if you click on the plus button, then you will get a window. There you will select the axis title and name the axis. So on the y-axis we have measured commodity y, and on the x-axis we have measured commodity x. So we have named accordingly. Now what would be the name of the chart? We can mention here the amount of total utility. So in this example, the total utility is equal to 100. So for the first example, or for the first numerical problem, we have drawn the indifference curve. Now this indifference curve, there is no compulsion that you should take total utility as 100. You can take total utility value, that any value of total utility you can consider. There is no mandate for it, but what you need to remember is that first find out the value of x. Find out the values of x by using this relationship that you identify from the utility function. Now the first problem we have solved. Let's move to this next problem. Now here is our second problem. So in the second problem, our utility function is u equal to 4x plus 2y. Now in this case again we will follow the same rule. We will express this utility term in terms of only one commodity. So let us express it in terms of commodity x. So we can write here 4x equal to u minus 2y, and then just write x, then u by 4 minus 2 by 4 y, or 1 by 2 into y. So now this is our relationship between x and y, using what we will draw the indifference curve. So again we will generate some columns, required columns. So the first column we will write x, the values of x, or values of the variable x we will put in the x column. Then we will write the column for commodity y. Then we will generate the column for the total utility. We know this utility function is for total utility, so total utility column we will generate. After that we need to generate the columns that are required for the related terms. So here we can generate one column for total utility divided by 4, and one more column we can generate it here, that 0.5 into the value of y. So that is the slope of the this one. I'm talking about this one. This one is the slope of the straight line, because here we are having a linear combination, right? So this is nothing but a straight line indifference curve, straight line IC. Okay, So let us generate the values of x by using the relationship between x and y and u. So the first job is that to find out a fixed value for total utility. Again, in this example we are taking the value is 100. So for all the commodity combinations of x and y, we will have the same value, that is 100. Now let us consider commodity wise quantities from 1 to 10. So 1, 2, then we will drag and drop till 10. So now we have the values of the quantities of commodity y, and for all commodity combinations we will have the same total utility. Now we need to connect the cells by using the formulas. So here du by 4 for this column. First we will connect the cells. So total utility divided by 4. This is our intercept. So here just drag and drop and we will have the same intercept. Now it's time to connect the values of y with the slope. So equal to 0.5 multiplied by the value of y that we have taken in this example. So for the first commodity combination or slope, when we have adjusted it with the value of y, it is 0.5. Now drag and drop it. So we have identified the values for the second term of this equation. This term of this equation, we have identified the values. Now we need to find out the values for x. What will be the x? X will be equal to intercept term, that means du by 4, this term, minus the term that is associated with the slope, so this column's value. So enter. So for the first combination will give us that the consumer will consume 24.5 units of x and 1 unit of y. Let us look at the other combinations. If we drag and drop, yes, these are the other combinations of where we identified the values of x. So here we will consider only 1 decimal places values. Now the job is to identifying or drawing the indifference curve. Just select columns x and y, insert, go to chart where you can consider the two-way diagram, and then you can take this one, scatter with smooth lines and markers, select, and here we got our indifference curve. Now you can see that the indifference curve is a clear straight line because we had the straight line equation of the indifference curve. So just we will add the title. So axis title, we have taken the total utility as 100. Now what will happen if for the same amount of y, how the consumer can alter the quantities of x so that he can generate more amount of total utility? Let us just double the total utilities amount from 100 to 200, and from here if I make all these combinations as 200, you can see that we have not changed the amount of y, we only just double the amount of total utility. We identified that what combinations of x will be required for this altered amount of total utility. Now here the amount of total utility is 200. If you can remember the previous graph, there the total utility was 100 and the indifference curve was much steeper. But now we move to a curve which is much flatter. So it was a total utility curve in the previous case. Now when we move from here to the total utility with 200, this is our current indifference curve. So we identified that how we can draw the indifference curves if we have the utility functions. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. I hope the concept is clear. The same way you can also draw it by using your calculator. It's not necessary that always you need to use the Excel to solve this problem, but yes, you can also draw the indifference curve by calculating with the help of calculators. Now sometimes students ask me the question that should we draw the indifference curve correctly by generating the values of x and y, or by identifying the commodity combinations, just like how we have solved it right now in this video. See, the thing is that it is not necessary that should you draw the indifference curve like that, how we have drawn it at here. It depends on the marks. If the mark is only one, means for 1 mark the investigator or the examiner has asked you the question and that this is the utility function, draw an indifference curve, probably you can draw there only the indifference curve, what will be the rough shape of the indifference curve. But if the mark is more than one, then I will suggest you to identify the different commodity combinations and create a hypothetical table and then draw the indifference curve. I think in that case you will get full marks. So this is another suggestion from my side, and thank you for watching this video.